Hi everyone, Stephen Alexander here from politicallyimpaired.com. Today I'm going to be doing something a little special. By request, I'm doing a Alex Jones video. Now, I've been following Alex Jones since he broke up in Bohemian Grove, like way back when. Most people know about that now, but if you don't know it, please, for the love of God, look it up. Bohemian Grove, Alex Jones, it's what got him famous in my opinion, and it's pretty fucking messed up. Yeah, but anyway. A lot of people are critics of Alex Jones. They have good things to say, bad things to say. I'm going to save my critique for the end of the video, but for now, let's get started.
Take a look. More than 104,000 people have signed it so far. And joining me now is one of the people behind the petition, Alex Jones. He's host of the Alex Jones Show. Welcome to you.
Piers, thanks for having me.
Why do you want to deport me?
Well, we did it as a way to bring attention to the fact that we have all of these foreigners and the Russian government, the official Chinese government. Mao said political power goes out of the barrel of a gun. He killed about 80 million people because he's the only guy that had the guns. So we did it to point out that this is globalism and the mega banks that control the planet and brag that they've taken over in Bloomberg, AP, Reuters, you name it, brag that they're going to get our guns as well. They've taken everybody's guns but the Swiss and the American people.
Now, in Switzerland, everybody has a gun. It's actually a law that everybody must have a firearm. It's a law. And surprise, surprise, believe it or not, it's the safest place in the world to be.
And when they get our guns, they can have their world tyranny while the government buys 1.6 billion bullets, armored vehicles, tanks, helicopters, Predator drones, armed, now in U.S. skies, being used to arrest people in North Dakota. The Second Amendment isn't there for duck hunting. It's there to protect us from tyrannical government and street thugs. Take the women in India. Your piece earlier on CNN I was watching during Anderson Cooper's show didn't tell you that the women of India have signed giant petitions to get firearms because the police can't and won't protect them.
Now, that's statistical fact. If, the story he was talking about is a predominantly Muslim area, and because of the extreme Muslim beliefs, not many people take women seriously there. It sucks to say, but it's true, unfortunately.
The answer is, hey, wait a minute, I have FBI crime statistics that come out a year late, 2011. 20+% crime drop in the last 9 years. Real violent crime because more guns means less crime.
It's important to remember those stats that he just talked about because they're going to come into play later on in the video, so I hope you were paying attention.
Took the guns 15, 16 years ago, tripling of your overall violent crime. True, we have a higher gun violence level, but overall muggings, stabbings, deaths, those men raped that woman in India to death with an iron rod 4 feet long. You can't ban the iron rods. The guns, the iron rods, Pierce, didn't do it. The tyrants did it. Hitler took the guns.
Look at that, he's right.
Stalin took the guns.
Fuck me, he's right.
Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns.
And look at that, he's right again.
And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand?
Now, here's the funny thing about Alex Jones. He's got quite the temper on him. And I understand because I have a temper on me too. It's difficult to control it sometimes. But I've seen the behind-the-scene footage for this particular interview, and he seems perfectly calm. Now, if he seems perfectly calm, it's probably safe to say that he was saving his anger for this particular moment. And what's funny about it is the fact that he mentions 1776. And he says that a lot, repeats that over and over again, but especially when he's talking to British people, like Piers Morgan. So when he's facing Piers Morgan, he's just losing his shit. And it's quite comical when he, with the Texas accent. It is natural. He's from Texas. And it's, we'll commence again, It's pretty funny stuff.
That's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns. My family in the Texas Revolution against Santa Anna, my family was at the core on both sides starting that because Santa Anna came to take the guns at Gonzales, Texas. Pierce, don't try what your ancestors did before. Why don't you come to America? I'll take you out shooting. You can become an American and join the Republic.
I find that very funny that he mentions the whole taking out shooting. Like, that makes you an official American if you go out shooting.
You finished?
Yes, I am finished.
He's not finished.
You will not take my right. You go through background checks to get guns. How about Prozac? You know the number one. Oh, that's the big sponsor, isn't it? Or that whole class of drugs.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, whoa, got to cut that off, don't you?
Say what you will about Alex Jones, and people have a lot to say about Alex Jones. He's not wrong about that. Think about the Prozac. Very important to remember. The so-called suicide or mass murder pills that like doctors are just prescribing people that have like anxiety or depression, and this, it's no big surprise that a large percentage of these mass shootings that are going on, like they're all people that have been on this drug. And it's something that the networks don't want to point out. He's absolutely right, because like Pfizer and some of the bigger companies that supply this type of drugs, that sponsor them. It's big money. It's big pharma. That's huge money. So I'm actually really glad that Alex Jones pointed this out. Good stuff.
Don't want to talk about the U.S. number one cause of death is suicide now, because they give people suicide mass murder pills.
Calm down.
Your answer is give more money to the psychiatrists and psychologists to put more crazy people on drugs that make them kill people, Pierce.
Let's try and have a debate here.
Yeah.
Answer me this question.
I'm sick of the same old script here, bud.
What to say about Alex Jones when it comes to this stuff? He likes to talk over people, and he's known for it. This can be a good thing and a bad thing if the ball's in his court when you think about it. Because on the upside, he puts his point across really well, and that's the point of over talking people, because as long as you're over talking, people are going to listen to you more. Makes sense. But here's the shitty part, right? He looks like a bully. He looks like someone that's gonna constantly talk over you, and someone that's known for it. I find it really difficult for anybody in the mainstream media to come out and actually give him an interview based on that. So he probably lost a lot of his support as far as mainstream media is concerned, which is realistically his desired target audience. He already has people that are open-minded and alternative media based, but he doesn't have the ones that haven't haven't necessarily jumped on the whole alt-right scene. So it's realistically hurting him at the same time. Gotta think about that there, Alex. You might have hurt your career a little bit.
It's fine, bud. How many gun murders were there in America last year? Do you know?
There were about 11,458, and about 74% of those were gang-related, gangbangers shooting each other.
Brings up a good point. He also mentioned earlier the whole idea that you can't ban hand weapons like baseball bats and the iron rod in this case, which he brought up. I find it very interesting that Piers Morgan doesn't really shine a light on that. And I think that's a topic that I really would have loved to hear his perspective on. Now, that being said, this video was shot in 2002 or something like that, or 2012. I don't know, I was thinking. But right now it's November 27, 2016. So it was quite a ways ago. But this video in particular, it stood out in my mind. I watched it quite a ways back, and it really did stick out in my mind. So that's why I wanted to reflect on this particular video. But as far as the whole banning like hand weapons and whatnot, it makes a whole lot of sense. You can't really stop people from killing. Look at the prisons, for example. All right, people that want to kill will kill. Shanks and shit like that. There's still knives available. As long as you can walk into Walmart and buy a fucking a 4-inch kitchen knife or anything that you can shank somebody with, right? There's going to be murders. Now, does handguns make it a little easier? Maybe make you be the straw that broke the camel's back, push you off the right edge, because it's really easy, to pull out a gun and shoot somebody. But I've always seen guns as a coward's weapon, unless it's for defense. Like, that's what you want if you want to, like to stop a home invasion, for example. But it takes a real pussy to pull out a gun and shoot somebody, just out of nowhere, as offensively anyway. That's my personal opinion. Now, I want to quickly look at what happened in New Orleans over the weekend. Now, I went to New Orleans on my honeymoon, so this really struck me, and I fell in love with the place. I absolutely love New Orleans. My wife loves it too. We plan on buying a place up there, down there, I should say, in the future for retirement or something like that. But we're looking at a shooting that happened today, or over the weekend, during Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving. And let's see here. You got 1 person dead and 9 people injured. They made several arrests. And now several arrests that and they have been charged with carrying illegal handguns. So that tells me one thing, and this is not the first article that I've read on this. That seems to be the case in every single shooting that I've seen. Maybe not every, but the ones that I've seen anyway. It's always a gun that was acquired illegally. Now, the answer here is not taking away guns. These are not responsible gun owners that are shooting people. They're not responsible gun owners. These are people that acquire guns illegally. So I think the real answer here is to have sharper and stronger legislation when it comes to gun safety and who gets a gun and who can be allowed to have a gun. And Piers Morgan did mention tougher gun regulations. So I do agree with him on that one. There's gun show loopholes and shit like that, where if you actually go to a gun show, you can probably acquire a gun pretty easily. So I think that's the problem here. I honestly don't think guns in general is the problem, because I don't think a responsible gun owner is going to pull out a gun in the middle of downtown or the French Quarter in New Orleans and start firing away. That's not something a responsible gun owner does. They have a registered weapon. It makes perfect sense to me, but that's just me. Carrying on.
You get 3,500 to 4,000.
That wasn't the
How
question.
many people died from infections in hospitals? 197,000.
Let me just ask you a second.
That's right.
How many gun murders were there in Britain?
How many
year?
great white sharks
How many
kill people every year, but they're scared to swim?
Right. How many gun murders were there in Britain?
A very low amount. I already went over those statistics.
So I mean, he went over certain statistics. This is not the first, and it's certainly not the last, as you're going to see. Time that Piers Morgan brings this up over and over again. I know what he's doing. Piers Morgan is trying to set up Alex to answer certain questions and trying to make him look stupid. Now, when he lost his temper, he kind of made himself look stupid, unfortunately. Anybody that's never seen Alex Jones before, you're going to get one of 2 views on this. One, right, here's a patriot that really, cares about gun laws and really wants to tell the truth. That's the first view. The second view is this guy is out of his fucking tree. So that's where the nation is divided.
No?
That was only a few hundred.
No. How many gun murders?
I actually did pull up the statistics. Here, let me pull them out right here. I figured you'd do that.
Gun murders in
wait.
Britain last year.
UK violent crime, capital of Europe. London Telegraph. Here, let me
It's
give you
quite
more.
a simple question.
Well, that's the oldest.
You're a very loud man.
No.
You're very loud, man.
That's the oldest
make a
Perry
lot of
Mason
noise.
tactic to ask me some little factoid.
It's not a little factoid.
I already said earlier,
We're talking about
England
a
has a
country.
lot lower gun crime rate because you took all the guns.
Let me try exactly my
But you've got
point.
hordes of people burning down cities and beating old women's brains out every day.
What a ridiculous
They arrest
statement.
people.
What a ridiculous thing, he says. Piers Morgan has a huge following. A lot of people listen to him. So that being said, wouldn't it be, smarter to actually do the research on this before you just call someone out and saying, hey, that's ridiculous? And I think in this case, Alex Jones is actually, well, as far as debating is concerned, kicking the living shit out of him. It's another reason why he's never invited back in the Piers Morgan show ever again.
People in England, if they defend themselves, that's on record. My God, you've got a total police state. Everybody's fleeing that country because you've had to flee here, bud. Why don't you tell folks? Yeah, you fled here. Why don't you go back and face the charges for the hacking scandal?
That's a really good question. Piers Morgan is known for making up fake news, and he was punished for it. Did he flee here? That's up for you guys to decide realistically. But I do find it very, very curious that he would happen to come to America right after the hacking scandal.
Answer this question. How many
Why'd you get fired from the Daily Mirror for putting out fake stories? You're a hatchet man of the New World Order. Okay. You're a hatchet man.
I love how Alex Jones does call people out on their shit, calling him a hatchet man and whatnot. I think he might be onto something. But at the same time, right, he's very loud, and a lot of people aren't going to take him seriously. This is why I like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro never loses his shit. And he has debates and just crushes people.
And I want to say this right here. You think you're a tough guy? Have me back with a boxing ring in here, and I'll wear red, white, and blue, and you can wear your Jolly Roger.
This is what I mean, temper, right? This is a talk show, Alex Jones. This is a talk show. People are supposed to be civil and having conversations between one another. This is where he loses a lot of his credibility. If he would have kept his calm and discussed these facts very civilly and had a regular conversation with Piers Morgan, he would have gained a following much stronger than the one that he has now. But nevertheless, it did work because he does have a big following, and a lot of it's strictly based on this interview. So back to it.
Okay.
You know what?
Let's try again. How many gun murders were there?
Oh, you're going to ban your fist now?
In Britain last year.
How many chimpanzees can dance on the head of a pin? I already went over those statistics.
Do you know the answer?
No, I don't.
You said hundreds.
It's very low.
You said hundreds.
Yes.
It's actually 35.
Well, the point is you can...
Against 11,000. Do you understand the difference between 11,000
Yeah, England
and
wants
35?
to ban knives now because tens of thousands are getting stabbed.
But do you understand
ban
the
knives?
difference?
The knife doesn't kill people.
Do you
The
understand?
gun doesn't kill people.
This is a conversation about gun violence in particular. Now, Piers Morgan set the title and set the topic for the day. So when he's talking about gun violence, and Alex Jones comes back and say, hey, it's not gun violence, it's all violence in general that has to be looked at. And he's coming back with this fact, and like 35 is a very, very low number, good for them, and as opposed to 11,000 in the States. That sounds very, accurate and very scary, and that's enough to make the average American think, oh, maybe having guns is a bad thing. But again, when Alex Jones brings up, hey, look at UK, it's the crime capital, or the violent crime capital of Europe right now. That tells me one thing: people are going to die no matter what you fucking do. It's a terrifying thought, but it's true. And the question you got to ask yourself is, hey, do you want to be shot or do you want to be stabbed?
Listen, do you understand you're not going to pull on America's heartstrings? They know your script.
They don't know the script, unfortunately, Alex. This is why you're on the show in the first place, is because they don't know the script and they need to be told by someone that does not, put all their faith into mainstream media.
Okay, you're not going to get our guns. By the way, you guys always say we just want to take the semi-autos, okay, and all this other stuff. When semi-autos aren't even rifles aren't even used, but in a fraction of the crimes, you can pull those numbers up, okay? No, hold on.
Well, let me ask you one question. Which weapon was predominantly used in the Aurora movie theatre shooting?
M4 AR-15 variants.
So it was a semi-automatic assault rifle.
Again.
Okay,
but statistically, it's very, very low.
Do you agree it was the single biggest shooting in the history of America in terms of people hit by a shooter? Do you know that?
No, I believe that there were others. There's been some other shootings from about over 30.
No. This was the single biggest mass shooting.
Well, listen, you're just going... No, there have been bombings of Wall Street.
Let me ask you a second question.
Are we going to... Listen, why can't the pilots have firearms? We trust them to fly the planes.
Alex, you've had a lot to say.
No, my point is the Second Amendment is sacrosanct, and you're not getting it.
Do you know which weapon was used in the Oregon shopping mall mass shooting recently?
I understand that people... who are mentally ill on all the serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
No, he's not answering his question because he knows he's being set up. The idea is to take away the semi-automatics and the military-grade weapons, which is understandable. I totally get it. But at the same time, are these registered weapons? That's the question. How did these shooters get the guns in the first place? It's a really important question to ask, and I haven't heard any answer from that in this particular video. And I'm looking it up, and I can't find it either. So if you're listening and you want to find the stats on that, feel free to post it. But in the meantime, as far as these banning guns and all that stuff, we really need to look at why people kill, and maybe look at before selling anybody a weapon, possibly having some kind of a psychological screening. I think that'd be a good idea. Why put guns in the hands of people that are mentally ill? I think it should be a necessity, personally.
Just
Who
answer the
play
question.
these shoot-'em-up games
Alex.
want to go out and do this.
Alex.
Because there's criminals, I don't lose my rights, Pierce. Because there's criminals, I don't lose my rights.
Just answer the question.
Yeah.
Do you know what the weapon used was?
Listen, let me ask you a question.
No, answer.
I've got the FBI statistics that, listen, that
Okay.
these so-called
Let's take a
semi-autos
break.
that you talk about.
Let's take a break. When we come back.
Again, you're not going to get our guns.
When we come back, try and answer my question.
Yeah, all you're going to do is sit there and play little factoid questions.
Again, this is why Alex Jones doesn't get called on a lot of mainstream talk shows anymore. You can see it, right? It's pretty brutal.
Back now with Alex Jones. A man who says I should be deported for my stand on guns. So, Alex, here's how this is going to work, and it's entirely down to you. I'm going to ask you some questions in the spirit of a proper debate, and you've had a lot to say so far on the show, and a lot of it aimed at me, which is fine. But I want you to try and answer the questions. It's a proper debate, okay? I'm not trying to trip you up.
No, it's not a debate. You're running the show. You bring in your victims up front.
Actually, no.
Look, you got your little note cards.
Okay.
I just gave you FBI statistics that violent crime and gun crime is down over 20%.
Alex, let me just ask you
And
this.
you want to go to little factoids.
No, they're not little
Anybody can
factoids.
pull those up. Listen.
Do you know what...
Do you have a bodyguard?
Alex.
Why do you have bodyguards?
I don't have a bodyguard.
Yeah, I've seen you on the news with them. Don't you want to protect your wife from hoodlums, or you want to call the police?
Let me ask you this question.
Why does Dianne Feinstein tell 60 Minutes that she plans to try to take Miss...
Sit down and give these people a little space to work Excuse me!
and Mrs. America's guns. Have
Stop
you seen that?
talking over me.
You guys want to disarm all of America.
No, I don't.
Dianne Feinstein's bill does.
I don't.
Gun confiscation.
No, let me clarify for you. You don't seem to understand
First
what
you
it is I
register,
want.
then you confiscate. It's always done the same.
Here's what the campaign on this
Well, here, give me your little cue cards and I'll answer your questions for you.
What was the weapon used at Sandy Hook?
I've already gone over that and already answered it for you.
We haven't talked about Sandy Hook.
No, again,
What was the weapon?
It's a 223 M4.
Right.
Again, but statistically,
right.
they're using very low percentage of shootings.
But
Period.
Are you
but
seeing?
You guys,
are you seeing
people
a pattern?
wouldn't go swimming because the movie Jaws,
biggest,
even though great white
Alex,
sharks kill 5 people a year.
Alex,
you're trying to scare people.
Let me say something.
There's no metal shark in the water.
The same type of weapon was used in the last 3
and that's right.
mass shootings.
And Hitler used semi-autos to kill people.
Why would you
and
not?
So did Mao.
Why would you?
Why is the government arming to the teeth against us?
Alex, I don't.
What about Fast and Furious?
Alex,
why did our government ship guns into
down.
Mexico?
Alex,
to blame the Second Amendment?
Let's have a debate.
A false flag?
Alex,
to blame the Second Amendment?
I get accused.
Why'd they blow up Building 7 down the street here in New York?
I get accused when I get you guys on of talking over you, of being rude. I'm trying to be civil.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to try and answer some of the questions, right? Here's my issue for you. Why do people civilians need an AR-15 type assault rifle? Why do you
I
need
already
them?
said statistically they're using a very low amount of the crimes. That's an FBI fact.
They've been used in the last 3 mass shootings.
Yes.
Why do
I'll tell you
need
why.
them?
Because they advertise it in the media. Anybody knows that if somebody jumps off the Empire State Building, they put cops up there the next day because copycats come to do it again. The media hypes and hypes and hypes.
No, that's not the question.
Don't just commit suicide.
Alex, why do people
They'll commit
need them?
suicide by killing a bunch of kids, and here's the gun to use because it's the one the U.S. Army uses.
Why do people need them?
They need them to protect us from the #1 killer in history. Government in the 20th century, university study out of Hawaii killed 292 million people. It's called democide. Google it, folks.
Do you believe everyone in America, should everyone in America, therefore, have an AR-15 if they want one?
Statistically, where there's more guns, there's lower crime. The highest crime is in Bloomberg,
But you have the most
controlled
guns
areas.
of any of the 23 richest countries in the world, and you have 11,000
America was born on
gun
guns
murders a
and
year.
whiskey.
America was born on guns and whiskey.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Right, but
it's true we're a violent society.
Right. So you
but
accept that America has the most
knives
guns
kill
and the
3
most gun
times more.
murders.
Have you seen the FBI numbers? Knives, bats, rocks
Let's talk guns.
kill many times more.
Alex, let's talk about the guns.
It's not the rock. It's not the knife. When a mother chops her kids up with a cleaver because she's on serotonin.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Why don't you want to get rid of the drugs? Because they're half your sponsors?
No, stick to the subject.
America's #1 cause of unnatural death now is suicide.
Okay. Alex,
not automobile accident, not cancer, not...
You accuse me of attacking the Second Amendment of the Constitution.
I want to get people off pills that the insert says will make you commit suicide and kill people.
Alex, let's get about to the Second Amendment.
I want to blame the real culprit.
Alex.
Suicide pills.
Alex.
Mass murder pills.
Okay, let me ask you one question. Your belief, unless I'm wrong...
First time anybody's ever heard this, by the way.
Your belief, unless I'm wrong, is that under the Second Amendment, your real concern is that you will be overrun by a tyrannical regime, either from somewhere else
Yeah,
or
highway
from your own government.
checkpoints. Look at Mexico. Total gun ban for the citizens. Highest crime rate in the world. 57,000 people dead the last 5 years. Total gun ban for the citizens.
That's actually factual. Scary as fuck, but factual. So you take away the guns, complete gun ban, and big old mass murder spree. The facts don't lie.
But your main...
Switzerland has the lowest crime rate in Europe. Your country has the highest.
Alex, we have 35 gun murders a year. You have 11,000.
You people get their brains. It's the higher crime rate.
Let me ask you...
Violent crime is higher.
On this specific...
It's brains.
Alex,
it's people.
I'm trying to get inside your brains.
Pierce,
it's
if
not
you punched
very
me
easy.
right now, it'd be not your fist,
Alex,
but your brain that did
Alex,
it.
let me get inside your brain.
Okay.
Okay? I'm serious. You have a very, very big platform. You air, I think, on 63 networks.
No, that Wikipedia is like 10 years old. I'm on over 140 stations. XM.
Millions of Americans hear you.
Over 1.5 million
day.
visitors to Infowars.com
And I
today.
congratulate
Where we have
you
the
on your
statistics
audience.
posted right now.
Okay.
Infowars.com.
Who do you believe was behind 9/11?
Oh, I absolutely know. I have the police on CNN saying, get back, they're going to blow up 7. I have BBC reporting.
Who do you believe is behind
I
it?
have the proof. I heard them on CBS Radio.
Who, Alex?
They announced they blew up the towers on CBS Radio.
Who do you believe?
New Yorkers all saw it and heard it.
Alex, who do you
They
believe?
blew up Building 7.
Alex, who do you believe was behind it? The American government?
And here we go with the 9/11 talk. See, this is being brought up for a reason. He's done his homework on Alex Jones. Alex Jones believes that 9/11 was an inside job, and it is not an uncommon belief. If you look into yourself, put the conspiracy bullshit aside and look at the evidence. It's a little fishy. So he was relying on this because the second, obviously Alex Jones is dominating this interview. So, bring out his big weapons, like the big guns. And his big guns is, okay, let's discredit him by making him look like a 9/11 truther.
Criminal elements of the military-industrial complex, the same ones that staged Gulf of Tonkin, the same ones that staged the mass shootings of Operation Gladio.
Right.
Ooh, the CIA don't like this
Alex,
right now.
Do you mean that President Bush and his administration were behind 9/11?
I mean that even mainstream news reported that the hijackers were ordered to be allowed into the United States. Michael Springman, the head of the visa department, blew the whistle on that.
So the Bush administration was part of a conspiracy.
Well, he said never let us tolerate
to murder Americans.
I can speak in this accent as well.
Yeah.
See, this is completely uncalled for. When you mock people, it makes you look like an ass. It really does. Again, Alex Jones needs to control his temper. I think he's a lot of good things. I think he's a few bad things, but one of the bad things he is you can't really control his temper, and he needs to be able to do that to reach certain people, especially ones that take news very seriously.
The
But is that what you
government,
believe?
Hitler firebombed his own Reichstag, Pierce, to bring in martial law in Germany, April 27th, 1933.
He's not wrong about that either.
Governments have staged terror attacks throughout history or allowed terrorists to attack as a pretext to invade
many guns
and
do you own?
enslave
How many
the
guns do you own?
populations. I probably own more than 50 firearms. Many of them have increased in value 2, 3, or even 4 times. I sleep very comfortably outside Austin, Texas, knowing that I can defend my family.
Now, I am shocked that Pierce Morgan just didn't punch him in the face. To be honest, if someone was being that disrespectful towards me, I don't think I could control myself. I would have got up and just started wailing on him, to be honest. But he's got a lot of patience. I'll give him that.
Okay, Alex Jones. This is
Infowars.com.
This is the man who wants to deport me from the country for wanting to get rid of.
No, it's
assault
to
rifles,
point out you're a foreigner,
which
a
commit
red
mass
coat,
outrages.
here telling us what to do.
Whatever.
Go back to where they took the guns if you don't like it. The communists.
You called him a redcoat. That's hilarious. He's talking about 1776 as if Britain was actually the problem right now in politics. But Britain's invading again, and everybody run, you redcoats. That's pretty funny stuff. Anyway. So what is there left to say about this video? Alex Jones is a lot of things. Like I said, I've been following him for a really long time, and I don't really know what to say when it comes to Alex Jones because he has a big following. A lot of people jump on his defense for good reasons because he is accurate with a lot of his stuff. But here's the problem: I stopped following Alex Jones quite some time ago, and it's not because he was inaccurate or because he doesn't know what he's talking about or it doesn't fact check or it has nothing to do with anything like that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that every every video that I've seen of him, like every new video, it's always the same thing. It's always the end of the world. And I'm not saying that it's not, right? Because he talks about some serious stuff. But at the same time, like, people, we can't live in fear like that. And it makes him look like a fearmonger, like, really. If he has a breaking story about something that's going on in politics or around the world or something like that, like, it's important to stress that, yes, it's important. It's another thing to come out and say, hey, the world's ending tomorrow, you know? And you can only, watch so much of that before, you stop taking it seriously, unfortunately. And it's not that I don't take it seriously. I can see, I can see how other people can react to that. Personally speaking, I stopped watching because I couldn't take it anymore. I had problems sleeping. I did take it a little too seriously. I've gotten smarter since. And yeah, we can't just live in fear all the time and try to function on a regular basis based on that. So that's that's a real problem. But anyway, I think that's all I have to say about it, for the most part. Anyway, Alex, if you're listening, man, like I'm always up for an interview if you want to talk or anything like that. I like debating. I like the cut of your jib. It's a nice jib. It's cut really nice. But anyway, that being said, I have a book coming out, the Book of Neophyte. It's a bestseller. It's going to be on the shelves in a few weeks. Right now, I'm giving that away for free as an ebook. If you want a free copy of that, all you got to do is subscribe. And send a message to Stephen Alexander at politicallyimpaired.com. You'll find that link in the description of the video. So, that being said, guys, thanks for listening and take care.